Cowley. In this programme, I'm going to be looking at classroom routines, the things that children are expected to do every day.
Put your hand up if you haven't got your P.
I'm going to be working with Baz Barrett and his Year 3 class at Ward End Primary School in Birmingham.
Bonjour, Dion.
Ward End is in a tough area of Birmingham and, along with many schools, often has some challenging behavioural issues to take on.
Do I have to separate you from the rest?
Baz is keen to learn some new strategies to help him deal with inappropriate behaviour in his classroom. Later on, I'll be discussing with him how he got on and be giving him some help and advice. But first, we're going to look at Baz and Year 3 to see some of their typical classroom routines.
Morning, Cameron. Morning, Haroon. Morning. One, Chantal. Good girl. Sit down for me. Oh, wow. Is this about your country? Smashing. Fantastic. Good lads. OK, ladies and jelly beans, sit down for me, please. Sit down then, missus. Good girl. I should have everybody sitting down now. Bonjour, Adam. Bonjour, Kenneth. Bonjour, Ramel. Good boy. Bonjour, Manuel. No Manuel today. Scores of it always in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I'll start off with Brazil. Smashing. Right. Let's see how sensibly Brazil can go and sit down on that carpet. How quietly can you do it? You're talking, telling tales. So you've lost a point straight away. That's better. But on the whole, that was very, very good. I'm going to give you 4 points, Brazil. I'm going to give you 3 points because you're talking and you're telling tales and other people.
12, 14, 14, 16, 18.
On square D4, there's a smiley face. In 4 minutes' time, I'm going to let you go to lunch. But I just have to speak to you about your behaviour in the playground. Let's just remember those golden rules. Do be gentle. Do be kind and helpful. Do work hard. Do look after property. Okay, son, out you go. Ciao, Chantal.
Ciao, Mr. Bella.
Ciao, Solomon. April, tell me everything.
Charlotte and Jodie went for a run. I went up by the trees. They couldn't find me, then they found me.
Do you want to go over to the corner, over there? Just solve your difficulties together, all right? Just quickly, just solve those difficulties for me, like sensible juniors do. Eyes on me, please. Now, Dion, I need you to stand up. Now then. Daniel got into a lot of trouble at lunchtime because of this business with the ball.
You went by the trees and talking.
Can we read in our heads, please? Do you know what I expect you to do? Do you know the right way? Seriously. Because if you don't know the right way, then on Monday, I can show you the right way. I'll show you around the whole school, and I'll show you how children in this school behave. Charlotte's doing her own drawing. You should be doing your own drawing. Do I have to separate you from the rest of your group? I hope I don't have to. One last chance. I said to you, if you get out of your seat one more time, if you've got another argument to have with somebody, then that's it. It's your last chance. Michael, into 3C for 15 minutes. I'm not happy. Out you go. Make sure he goes next door and thank you.
1 week later, and I've invited the very tall Baz to meet up with me out of school so we can assess what went on in his classroom. So, Baz, tell me, just how tall are you?
I'm 6'8".
6'8"?
Yeah.
Wow, that must have an influence on what happens in your classroom.
I suppose it does. It's something I don't really think about very much anymore. But yeah, I guess they see me as an authority figure, I suppose.
Yeah. OK, should we have a look at some of the stuff that happens in your classroom around routines, those sort of things?
Okay.
Start of the day, break times and so on?
Yeah, go put your drawer away, good boy. This is the start of the day, yeah. So they've all come into the classroom now.
And they come in dribs and drabs, is that
right? They do,
yeah.
The bell goes and school doesn't start for 10 minutes, but they're allowed to go into the classroom. There's usually a little activity to settle them down. What words?
They're coming in a few at a time.
Yeah.
You need to have this kind of snap moment. Day is starting, everybody this way, sitting down. You're going to start the day. OK, now I know it's quite a hard thing to ask you to do, but I'd be tempted to take that register standing up.
OK.
It makes a point about you as a teacher. If I'm stood up, I can see what's happening around the room.
What would you do if you were taking the register standing up and, you know, a parent came in or something?
I would be tempted just to ignore them. I mean, to be honest, they must know when the school day starts. You have a right to certain expectations of the behaviour of the children and of the behaviour of the parents. It's not so much being rude as saying, you know, my day has started.
I'll start off with Brazil. Smashing.
Can you tell me about this scores on the doors?
It's a way of focusing them, really, and getting them ready to learn when I've got something
when you
important
need
to say.
Yeah. And I noticed that you were scoring them quite frequently.
Yeah.
And it was taking quite a lot of your time.
Yeah.
When do they actually assess how many points they've got?
At the end of the week,
yeah. So they don't get an instant reward for...
No.
Could you make it a bit harder to earn? There's only one set of scores on the doors available each time. Only one group can get 3 points for this. With rewards, if you make them really hard to earn, the currency is much more valuable.
12, 14, 5, 14.
Most of my lessons start off on the carpet, so I can get them focused.
Do you find it takes a while to get them settled on the carpet?
Sometimes, yes. But they need that focus. We need to come together as a class.
Because often when children are sat on the carpet, they start to get a bit restless and they stop listening. Perhaps even think about giving yourself a time limit for that carpet session, maybe 5 minutes maximum.
Yeah. Daniel got into a lot of trouble at lunchtime because of this. It's been a bit of a hairy lunchtime.
OK.
I've heard things from dinner ladies and from other teachers, and I've also spent some time in the canteen with the children as well. So after lunch, they need bringing back into the classroom and settling. Do you want to go over to the corner and just solve your difficulties together, all right?
It takes you sort of 10 to 15 minutes to effectively have a nag at them. Now, when you're trying to talk about behaviour with the class as a whole, you need to almost put on a character and say to the children, you know, I'm your teacher, I'm in charge. So you stand there and you say, right, children, I understand there's been some issues at lunchtime. OK, I'm very sympathetic, but we're here in the classroom to learn. And we're back in routine.
Yeah, we're back in
because otherwise we're not learning, we're faffing around. Yeah?
Okay.
Do you want to have a try at that?
Yeah,
6'8" and all then, go on. I'm your entire class, go on.
Okay.
Scare me.
OK, right, listen. Lunchtime's over now, the bell's gone, it's over. We're back in the classroom now, we're here to learn. So whatever problems you've got, you leave them at the door. You're in here to learn now, and listen to me.
Great. They're here in the classroom, they're here to learn. That is your focus as a teacher. Yeah? Behaviour management is only ever about allowing them to learn, OK? It's not about anything else. It's not about a power struggle, it's not about having control, it's about giving them the space to learn.
Of course,
okay?
Can we read in our heads, please?
Now, can you tell me about any children that cause you some difficulties in your classroom in terms of behaviour?
Yeah, we've got Michael here. He's a smashing lad. When he's on the ball, he's very, very clever. He gets on well with his work, but sometimes his behaviour slips.
What sort of things does he do? What does he have problems with?
I think it's a concentration thing sometimes.
Right. And one thing I'd suggest with children who have concentration issues is to keep the targets as short as you can, which you're obviously doing. Complete this task, Michael, and then we can give you a reward. Now, what's happening here with Michael? Are you having to send him out?
Michael, into 3C. I've spoken to him a number of times during the afternoon, and
Right.
actually the previous time I'd let him know how many times I had spoken to him. I said, I've spoken to you 10 times now this afternoon. One more time and you're out. And he had his last chance, and
Okay.
now
Now, this is a classic thing, the classic mistake that we make. We don't want to send a child out.
No.
We don't want to punish a child.
Of course not.
So you keep this thing where you say, if you do that again, I'm going to punish you. And they do it again, and you don't punish them. If you do that again, I'm going to punish you, and they do it again. And so poor old Michael's getting mixed messages here. And eventually Sir says, I've told you 10 times. Now, Michael isn't keeping an account, and it will help Michael if you can keep it short. So maybe 3 strikes and you're out. But don't instigate that without sitting and talking it through with him. Give him some kind of visual way of remembering what strike he's on. You might have the traffic light cards.
Yeah.
So you give him some way of understanding and controlling his own behaviour. So, Baz, I hope you found some of that useful.
Yes.
Good. Now, I'm coming into your classroom in a couple of weeks' time, and between now and then, you're going to have a think about how you might put some of these things into play.
Yeah.
One of the things I'd like to look at is those moments when the children enter the classroom. So, start of the day, after breaks, after lunchtime, finding a way of focusing the class together, having a moment when the learning starts.
Yeah.
Something else I'd like to look at is your reward systems. How can we make them more effective, more concentrated and less time-consuming for you? And then the other thing I'd like to look at is the way you time your lessons. So can we minimise carpet time to avoid disruptions? How can we get the lesson pace up a bit? 2 weeks later, and I've come to Baz's school to see how he's getting on with his classroom routines.
Good morning, Mr. Barrett.
Good morning, Danny boy.
Good morning, Mr. Barrett.
Good morning, Chantal.
I'm going to tuck myself away in the corner here and see how Baz gets on with focusing his children's attention.
Okay, well done. What a smashing start. Now, with me today, I've got Miss Cowley. She's with us today, and she's going to watch you working, okay? And she's going to watch me teaching as well. Just quickly, in partners, I want you to discuss what this bar chart up here is all about. You've got about 30 seconds. Go.
One thing you didn't give them is a signal to stop.
In a second, I'll stop them again, and we're going to do chatting in a second, so I'll try that.
Yeah, see how it works. Yeah. Or even do something silly like when I put my finger on my nose, that's your cue to stop, yeah?
When I want you to stop, I'll put my finger on my nose. Okay? Go.
It might take slightly longer for them to respond, but what you do get is you stop using your voice so much.
Yeah. Okay.
And they'll quietly each other. So, Baz, how do you feel it's been going? Do you
Good,
think...
yes, yeah. Well, there's a couple of things I took on board. Pace was one, not rambling on too much, getting the kids on task straight away, really sharp.
Brilliant.
And also settling them down at the start of a lesson.
Yeah, and getting that focus from them.
You know, break time's over.
Yeah, and they're really looking at you, focusing on the learning. Fantastic, you've done so well.
Thank you.
Well done. Giving children a focused start and plenty of routine during the school day is the key to getting better behaviour.